We are live. Hey, welcome everyone. This is ACDC, Araceli and Colette, the Dynamic Change. And my name is Araceli, and I'm a transition wealth advisor. And I help single professional women to rearrange their finances so they can get ahead quicker and retire faster. And I'm here with my partner, Colette. Colette, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Colette Raba, and I am a real estate broker in the GTA West. I believe in helping people who are seeking real knowledge to make the best decisions when buying or selling a property in the GTA. So I help families make smart decisions when buying or selling a home, and investors know their numbers even before they offer. So that's why Araceli and I do this show, because we love giving you information so you are prepared when you're buying or selling or investing in real estate, not just in Ontario, but wherever you decide that's a good idea.
Whatever, what I say is whatever makes sense because real estate investing is all about the numbers. And
Right.
if it doesn't make sense in Toronto, you might have to look somewhere else where
Right.
that
And the
makes sense.
way, yeah, and the way the market is right now, this is why what we're going to talk about today a little bit. So, what's our title for the day?
Well, I have got certain calls, people telling me that they are expecting the market to drop in Toronto. And I'm saying, where are you getting this information? And so they're sending me several articles about how realtors and uh, financial people have put together or they have their opinion about mhm,
Mm-hmm.
how the
Uh-huh.
market is going to go down and they expect a correction of 40%.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah.
we discussed this, but what we see is that these are just basically opinions because they don't give you any data on what it
Okay.
is. So,
I'm so glad because I just saw this article. It says it was written April 6th. Today's the 14th. This was from last week. Toronto home prices surge, tops 20% as bubble debate heats up. So this is, a he said, she said, because really what you need. So if you don't know what kind of a market we're in right now, let me inform you. We're
mhm,
in a seller's market, very, very, very hot seller's market. To have a hot seller's market, you need a trifecta. I like to call it a trifecta, which includes very low inventory, which we've been seeing for years
mhm,
now, very low mortgage rates if you qualify, which has been a couple years now. And they're really, as far as I talk to my mortgage brokers, this is who you should be talking to mortgage brokers and lenders. If they don't say forecasting is different than opinion.
yeah,
Forecasting, they are being told by their banks, by the Bank of Canada, what's coming. So it's not like, oh, this is like a magical, let me look at my crystal ball sort of situation. Like this is forecasting. It's a little bit more accurate than
accurate, yeah.
opinion, right? So because there are such low mortgage rates, plus there are lots of qualified buyers. So when you list your house, you get multiple offers, and that raises the price. That gets people excited to say, oh my gosh, I'm bidding against 10 other people, 15 other, 20 sometimes other buyers. And the problem with Canadian real estate is that it's not transparent. You cannot see what everybody else is offering.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a catch 22 when you have a buyer actually win the bidding war, then you can't help but think, oh, maybe I overspent. So yes, of course, everybody is overspending. But if you really want to get into the real estate market, there is, to me and to you, as far as I understand, there is no going down. If it does even out, if for whatever reason the Bank of Canada decides, okay, we have to put a brakes on the mortgage qualifying, making it a little bit harder for people to get into the market, it will slow down the real estate market, but it will not change it from a seller's market to a buyer's market.
Yeah.
There's a big in between where it evens out, and it's called an even market.
Yeah.
So
So one
that
of
was
the things I think that a lot of the opinions that are written in articles, they are trying to compare the market in the US with the market in Canada, which is two
Very
different markets, very, very different.
Yeah.
In the US, the banking system is a lot different. And they allow the properties to go down 40, 50, and sometimes even more of what the current value is.
Right.
And
sorry.
And in Canada, because the banking system is so strong that we are not, almost is unheard of properties going down by that much of a percentage. And
Right.
I agree with you, Colette, that if there is any slowdown, it will not be a lower in price, but it just be a consistent price for a longer period of time. That means the appreciation would slow down.
Right.
But it will not say today your house is 500,000 and tomorrow is 300,000. So
yeah, it doesn't work that way.
I don't think that it works that way. Right?
So, and the other thing too is, so when it is a balanced market, what generally happens is there's and whenever I have a buyer, I try and explain the culture behind the seller's market. So what that means, and it's for people who don't do it every day, it's a little nerve-wracking. So imagine you're a buyer, you don't know anything, you decided to look to buy a house. You may or may not have a property to sell, but you want to buy first, because that's what I would recommend, is to buy first in this market, because it's so low inventory and you have multiple buyers on each property. So when you're looking at that and say, okay, I'm going to go in, purchase price is, let's say, 700,000. I have to tell them the culture behind the way agents are listing the property. They're listing it for less than the market value to get more people excited, to get more offers on the property, to inflate the price. So that's the whole culture behind a seller's market, where you have this gap of, the first thing I do when somebody wants to make an offer in a house, I go and I look at the comparables. At a $700,000 house for, let's say, 3-bedroom, 3-bath sort of situation, detached in wherever, let's say Mississauga, I look at the comparables. All the comparables in the same area are selling for $900,000. You will not be able, well, of course you'll be able to list whatever you want, but you'll most definitely, I hate to break it to you, unless there's some magical zombie plague or something, you're the only buyer, the only person offering. If it's, there's 20 bodies buried in the backyard, I don't know, that you can magically get this house for 700,000. But that's what I have to tell my buyers. Be prepared to offer more than list price. Yeah. And it's up to them to decide what price they think the house is worth, based on the comps, based on the market, based on how many other offers come in.
Yeah. And this is actually kind of this hardening for a lot of people, because when you have certain amount of money that you have allocated to buy, it's difficult. And I'm telling you, this is such a different market. When I bought my triplex in Hamilton, that house was in the market for over 6 months. So I was able to negotiate the price down.
Of course.
And now it's like, you're lucky if you can even get in, right?
4 days, 6 days, holding off offers, bully offers. I just had I just made an offer with a couple. This is, I think it was their 4th or 5th offer on a house yesterday. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but honestly, there were 12. I think there was a total of 12 offers. Wow. We like, honestly, they've every other house that they didn't get, other houses that we offered on, in some cases went over $100,000 and did not get it. It actually sold for $50,000, like 150 total $1,000 over asking price. So I'm not saying this is across the board. For sure, you can get $150,000 over your house. That also, there is a formula with getting multiple offers as well. Your house has to be in great condition. Yeah. Your house has to be clean and beautiful. And even if there's a tenant, get the tenant out first. The house has to be easy. You have to be flexible as a buyer too, not just a seller. You have to be flexible on your moving date, your closing date. You have to be, as a buyer, you have to be flexible to waive conditions in sometimes. We're looking at comparing offers. What are you going to, as a seller, what are you going to take? A good price, no conditions, good closing date that you want, versus a lower price with conditions. And, like, this is the thing, that when you are looking in a seller's market, you have to be very competitive. You have to be very aggressive if you actually want that house. So I'm working with other clients right now who we're making an offer today on a property later today. And they don't really like the house, but there's nothing else on the market. So they're like, meh,
okay,
yeah,
so
let's make an offer.
We'll take it. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, let's try. I'm like, you know what? This is actually really good. I don't want my buyers to be emotional about a house, because that's when you go a little bit nuts,
You
right?
get disappointed, yeah.
Or you also overspend.
Correct. So, Colette, going back to this kind of comment that I got, what would you recommend to somebody that's saying, oh, I'm going to wait until the market goes down 40% to make an offer?
You know how many times? Okay, so I've had my license for 8 years, and I've been buying real estate for 20, maybe more, longer than that. How old am I? I forget. Anyway, more than 20 years. I've been hearing this pretty much my lifetime, of saying, just chit-chatting with people too, to say, oh, we're going to wait for the market to drop. You can wait all you want. The problem is, when's the best time? I like to use this analogy. When's the best time to plant a tree?
20 years ago. And the second best time, it's now. Right
now, right. So to really think about investing, living somewhere that you love, having the freedom, and you're putting money into an investment, even if you're living there, you have this freedom. Look at, you and I both, we both own income properties, but it was not easy for me to get that property. And I bought it in a time where, even though the price was so good,
they were down,
easily, the problem is it's still uncomfortable. It's still, it's that unknown where this is the first time you're doing something, like anything, like riding a bike. You got to just jump in. And if you lose, you lose. Lots of people have lost out in real estate. Lots of people.
Yeah.
Rent to own. Somebody was telling me a story today. Rent to own. People walk away from a rent to own. They're investing money every month, but they don't take possession until the final date, where it's rent to own. So you make your payments up until a certain date, but the owner still has title. And if you don't want to buy that house at the end, the tenant, or the one that wants
the tenant buyer,
tenant buyer, they walk away. Sometimes they just don't have the money in the account, and they have to walk away from it at the end. So things like that, like, if you believe that the market is going to change and it's going to go down drastically, go, okay. I have
just keep waiting.
Go ahead, wait your whole life.
I have exactly the same opinion. And if you read books about real estate, most of them, they will tell you in theory that every 10 years, the market keeps going up and down. Right. But we have seen in Toronto over 20 years, consistent appreciation every single year.
Okay, so
there hasn't been a year that we have a low down. Even in the 2008 meltdown, COVID, all of that, still the market continues to appreciate.
5%. So the article that I was quoting before, the first line, it says, bringing the annual average price gain to more than 20%. So new listings were up from 57% for March 2020. So that actually means there is a little bit more inventory, which is really, really good, but it's still low. Across the metropolitan area, the average price of all homes sold was 1.1 million. So during that month, up 21% from last March. So 905, which is Mississauga and outside area code, surrounding the city's core, sold for 31.4% more, and the average price of 1.32 million. So yeah, go ahead. How low do you want it to drop? To 1.3 million?
Mm-hmm.
It's really, and it's crazy because the other thing that everybody tells me is, how is everybody affording these prices? So that's why it's interesting, because you see all the people that want to buy in Mississauga, Toronto, they are going out further. So I have clients in Cambridge. I have clients. I'm showing a house in Newmarket.
St. Catharines, Niagara. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing a house in. Oh my God, I forget even where I'm showing. I've been like crazy. I've been busy. Knock on wood. Finally, I'm quite busy. It's also spring market, so that's really something that I have to control. But this is the thing. I can't say no, it's too far, because really the GTA, I think the GTA is even bigger than the actual map. So when you look at Hamilton, that's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Hamilton. So to sell or buy in Hamilton, it's still really good prices. Very, very good. You might have to do a little bit more work, but you have to know the areas. You have to do the research on where you want to be. If you have kids, do they want to go to school there? Where are the good areas? Lot of gentrifying going on in Hamilton, but for years already. Same thing with Cambridge. I love Cambridge now. I hated it before because I had that stigma of like, no, I don't like it. It's, it's too rough, or it's not.
Everything is changing so rapidly because people are starting to move out, and the more people are there, the more things are starting to pop up. More shops, better things to do, things like that, parks, all of that.
But this is the thing. So to talk about COVID too, and how this is all kind of one big ball of change for people, they don't want to be in condos with their kids anymore. They want to have green space. They want to have trampolines in their backyards.
Mm-hmm.
They want, no matter if COVID lasts another year or 10 or, whatever, we don't know. It's the idea of having this kind of space and freedom to say, okay, let's go outside. Let's go. We don't have to share an elevator with 500 people.
Exactly.
It's that kind of culture, which I'm a little bit scared for condos. I don't know how that's going to work out. Condo market is strong still, but also they're still building condos. So that's the thing. Toronto's huge in the condo market. Every day I get several new condos coming up, being built from developers. So it's really, it'll be interesting to see how condo prices change. Now, condo prices may drop, but again, it's for the amount of money that you're going to spend to just get into buying something is still cheaper than just renting in some cases. So wouldn't you rather spend the money on a thing that you own?
Absolutely. And that it'll appreciate, even if at the lower end of appreciation, you still have minimum 4%, maybe 5%. It's been consistently minimum 5%, all over across the GTA. I always try to go kind of on the safe side. Absolutely. If you're able to do it, I would say that if you do want to buy and are waiting for that magical drop,
no,
it is like trying to time the market, right? It's just almost impossible to know when that is going to happen.
So this is interesting because every year I go, so Toronto Real Estate Board has like a big function every year where it's called Realtor Quest. All realtors get to go and listen to speakers, and it used to be like a trade show too. And every year I would go and I would pretty much sit in the lectures and to listen to all the experts talk. And now everything is online. So I continue to do that. But I remember even 2 years ago, the head of, I believe it was the head of Ontario Real Estate Board. No, I'm sorry. It was not him. He was, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This is terrible. Don't quote me on who said it. But it was somebody that was either, I think he was Bank of Canada or the head of a bank. And what he was saying was, if you think real estate prices are high now, just wait. Just wait. That was 2 years ago. And he's right. he just said it again this year.
Yeah.
So he knows that forecasting is one thing, but at the same time, when you look at like even the crazy prices now are not the end. They will continue to climb with so the other thing too, what I like to say too, is when you look at prices in the GTA, you have to look at prices globally. You look at Paris or London or other big European cities.
That's what I was just gonna say. I read an article, and that was a way back too, that
In
it
the
said that,
US.
yeah, that Toronto is actually going to be similar to New York, Paris, California, and the prices there are so outrageous. Like if you didn't buy 20 years ago, there's absolutely no way that you can buy now. And in some cases, they will give you an amortization of 100 years in
Wow.
order for you to be able to afford the monthly price. So you actually have to pass on that property to your kids, to your grandkids.
I was just going to say that.
So,
that's what happens in Europe. It is this, idea that really you own a property, you own it for the rest of your success. Like this is a succession plan for the rest of your children and their children.
yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned too, the property that I own, I don't ever plan on selling it. I do plan on giving it to my kids. They know, they're fully aware of that. And if they don't like it, then, once I'm gone, what am I going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the funny thing. And you know what I heard today, which is very, very interesting, very interesting, that I was a little bit shocked that, and I'm sorry, again, I can't, when I read things, I don't think of saving the article and posting it, but I might be able to find it. But if you want to look up something of other countries buying properties, residential properties in Canada. So when people come here to immigrate, they have a place to go. Me, if I'm renting a landlord and I see somebody new to Canada come in, it's very hard for them. They don't have a credit card. They have no credit rating. They don't have jobs yet. They're not allowed to have jobs. How are they supposed to find a place to live?
Yeah.
So there are landlords, I'm not saying everybody's like this, but there are landlords that say, okay, yes, of course, I will accept, new to Canada people that come in.
Yeah.
Because the government does take care of, they give them a stipend for rent.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was about this article that I didn't realize was the government's buying properties to have, like, I don't understand that. Like, why would anybody, let's say, I don't know, Germany, the German government wanting people to come here to immigrate and go away? It doesn't make any sense. So the article was a bit fishy. I didn't really, scour it, but but I thought that's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole moral of the story is make sure that you read and kind of identify if it is a forecast or if it is an opinion.
Right.
Because everybody can give their opinion. I can tell you, oh yeah, the market's going to drop. But everybody's going to run, oh, Araceli said that the market is going to drop, right?
Well, of course. And who's actually making those opinions? So it might be in their best interest to say that to you. So you stick around, let's say as a financial advisor, say, oh yeah, don't spend your money, don't buy a house yet. Invest it with me for 10 years and then the prices will drop. Not that you say that, but you know what I mean? That's the source. You have to figure out who's the source and really if they're a reputable source.
Exactly. And also use a little bit of common sense. Take a look at what is going around in the actual world. What is happening? What are the houses going for? It's very easy now with the internet to just go on the MLS, go into realtor.com and look at the prices, right?
I'm so glad you said it. You know what? If I want to get my car fixed, am I going to Google it or am I going to go and talk to the guy who's been fixing my car for the last 10 years and ask his opinion? It makes sense to ask financial advice. Talk to the people you know and trust and get their opinion and say, do you have anything to back up your opinion? Do you have facts? Do you have any kind of, historical data to show me that this is really what you're saying is there's some substance to it? So honestly, talk to the people that you know first. Talk to us. We love to give you our opinion.
Yeah, we are always looking into real estate, what is happening here and in the US,
Yeah.
and see how the market is behaving. And then you can make a little bit of a switch, right? As an investor, for example, I used to do a lot of flips in the US, and now I'm changing to do rentals because of what is happening. There's a lot less properties. Prices are appreciating, so it's harder to get a good property at a lower price so you can have enough money to do a flip. So you need to really kind of immerse yourself and look at what is the actual facts.
Right.
Because no matter what people want, of course, we would want, the properties to go down as investors, right? Of course, as a homeowner, you don't want that. You want your property to continue to appreciate.
Right.
However, you really need to make a decision, especially if it is your house that you're going to be living in it. Prepare financially for it. If you don't know where to start, let me know. I'll be happy to talk to you and create a plan to buy a property now. Like if you're able to do it today, do it.
Well, the one thing too that I find that people are not exploring is that I'm looking for investor partners right now. So I have, let's say I have X number of dollars that obviously I can't buy a whole property with that amount of money. But I know if Araceli, you have the same amount of money and the two of us can buy a property and use it and if the numbers work out as a really good investment property, I'm happy with that. Why would I not want a partner? I would love to do that. Even if, let's say you have a sibling and you want to buy a 2-bedroom condo and you're going to move in and then one of you moves out, the other person can get a roommate, the other person still gets a little bit of income coming in. There's always a way to do it. You have to be a little open to, maybe something a little bit different. And if it means taking on a partner, then why not?
Absolutely. So there's, now more than ever, people should be open to do these kinds of transactions if you're not able to do it on your own. But if you're able to do it with a partner that you trust, absolutely do that, because the appreciation, even if you keep it for a few years only and then decide to sell it or buy that person out, depending on how your finances change, then you still have an interest in that property. And whatever appreciation is also half of it or whatever portion it is yours.
Right.
So yeah, do it if you can.
There's lots of ways.
But don't try to time the market and say that the market is going to go 30-40% down, because it might never happen.
Let me see. I want to see historical data when that happened. Was it World War II?
Oh, probably.
So maybe if there's a world war and houses are falling down. That's the other thing too. And just the one last thing, if I can say it, if you are in the market to buy, know who you are. If you don't want a fixer upper, if you don't have any patience for being, to do the work on fixing up properties, then make sure whoever you're working with knows that. If you want a, turnkey, I want to rent it, I want, locks on the doors, blah, 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 then know exactly what you want to buy before. It will save you a lot of trouble. It'll save you a lot of stress.
Absolutely.
A lot of time.
Yeah. Well, and it also depends on where the property is, because if the property is far away,
location,
you're 3, 4, 10 hours away from it, you may not have a choice but to let somebody else work on it, and you may want to just buy something that is ready to go. Right. However, if the property is close by and you're willing and able, and you like that, and you have the time to do it, then by all means do some sweat equity and have that appreciation going towards you instead of paying that money out.
Right.
It might take a little longer, but it will be in your best interest to do that if you're able to do that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. I think this is a good show. I hope you learned something, everybody. And then, if you do have any questions, please comment below.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have something or articles that you read that have something like this, let us know. We always like to investigate and see where that comes from and to comment on it here on the show. And we appreciate you, looking at the show. and sending us your comments. Please do, if you want a specific information, by all means, send it to us. We appreciate that very much. Thank you, Colette, and
Thanks,
we'll
Araceli.
see you next week.
Okay. Have a
Bye.
great week.